My name is Barbara. 3 days ago, I was sitting on my balcony, sipping the wine I'd set aside for that night. The news played on the TV behind me, and the mug shots of my family filled the screen. Federal indictment for wire fraud and racketeering, no bail. It was a moment of closure, but it came after a long and harrowing ordeal. It all started when I heard my father, Robert, shouting through the apartment intercom at 7 a.m. "She's unconscious. Let us up or she'll die." On the security monitor, I saw him screaming at the doorman, his face contorted in a false display of panic. My mother, Linda, was sobbing into a handkerchief beside him, and my sister, Grace, stared blankly at the camera. It was all a lie. I was standing in my kitchen, sipping my coffee, watching these people who had tried to ruin my life 8 years ago trying to bluff their way past the high-end security. I remembered the jagged scar on my shoulder, a souvenir from the last time Grace had held a knife to me. I felt a cold, calm determination. They thought they were ambushing a scared girl, but little did they know they were walking into my trap. When they finally entered my apartment, Robert marched in first, his face red with anger, not concern. Linda followed, gripping Grace's arm tightly. Grace, my sociopathic sister, was far from unconscious. She was eyeing my expensive appliances and the view outside with envy. Robert spat. "You changed your number. Do you know how hard it was to find you?" I leaned against the counter, trying to hide my trembling hands. "You found me. Now, tell me what you want and leave," I said flatly. Linda hissed. "We need you to do your job. For once, be useful." She pushed Grace forward. Grace pretended to stumble and looked up at me with fake tears. "I made a mistake, Barbara," she whispered. Robert slammed his hand on the counter. "She took a loan from the charity fund, $180,000. The audit is on Monday. We need you to fix the logs." I knew they weren't here for money. They knew I didn't have that kind of cash. They knew I was a senior data analyst at a forensic auditing firm, and they wanted me to use my skills to cover up Grace's embezzlement. I asked what would happen if I said no. Grace smiled wickedly and said, "Then Dad tells the police you hacked the system. You have the skills, and I have the password. Who will they believe?" It was a perfect frame-up. I pretended to give in. "Fine, I'll help, but I need to create a transaction to confuse the algorithm." I took out my phone, selected Grace's contact, and sent her $10 with the memo, Federal Wire Fraud Facilitation Fee Transaction Number 1. I showed them the screen and said, "This is a digital paper trail. By accepting this, you've engaged in wire fraud." Robert's face turned purple. I pointed to the door and told them to leave before I sent the screenshot to the DA. I thought I had won. They started to leave, but then Grace stopped. She turned to me with a cold, shark-like smile and whispered, "You shouldn't have sent that money, Barbara." She smashed her face into the doorframe, blood spraying everywhere. Then she started screaming, "Help! She's killing me." In an instant, the elevator doors opened, and 2 NYPD officers emerged, guns drawn. They didn't ask questions, just saw a bleeding girl on the floor and me standing nearby. I tried to explain, but they tackled me and handcuffed me. Robert shouted to the officers, "I called you 10 minutes ago. I told you she was unstable. She was going to kill us all." I realized then that this was all a pre-planned script. The embezzlement, the demand for help, it was all to frame me. In the holding cell, I was filled with fear and despair. The cold, the smell of bleach and sweat, and the weight of the handcuffs phantom still on my wrists brought back memories of when I was 16. I was on the kitchen floor, bleeding, and my mother walked right over me to comfort Grace, who had just attacked me with a knife. But then I looked at my hands, the hands of a skilled data analyst. I took a deep breath and decided to fight back. I asked for a phone call and called my lawyer, Mr. Harris. In the interrogation room, Detective Thompson presented the case against me, saying my parents' statements were compelling. I questioned the 911 dispatch logs and the building access logs. I pointed out that Robert had called the police before anyone could have reached my apartment, which was premeditation. Just then, Mr. Harris entered. I asked about the server with the video evidence, but He said it was destroyed, and my father claimed I did it to hide evidence. Grace had also given a statement saying the $10 transfer was a test payment for extortion. But I remembered the cloud backup. Mr. Harris opened his laptop, and we played the video. It showed Grace smashing her own face, Robert coaching her, and Linda staging distress. Detective Thompson's face went pale. The $180,000 embezzlement was bad, but the $10 cross-state transfer made it federal wire fraud. The FBI was called, and my family was arrested. Now, as I sat on my balcony, I deleted their names from my phone. I had finally broken free from the chains of a toxic family and proven that I was worth more than they could ever understand.